Okay, I don't have a presentation, I'll just speak. And what I thought that most of my time will be allocated to Q&A. Okay, so just a bit background. I'm from IMC, IMC. We are one of the original 8 LPs in Israel, and I'm in this business since 2010. In the beginning, there was only 8 companies in Israel that had a license to grow, to cultivate, and to supply directly to patients, vertically integrated. Along the years, we got licenses every 6 months. So the situation was that we didn't know if we should invest in the business, what is happening in the next 6 months. We lived from every 6 months to the other 6 months. At some stage, I understood that it's not going to change, and we should start and invest in the business. So we have done whatever was necessary in order to do that. We invested in automation, in growing, in more developing strains and so on, like the rest of the LPs. But the future was very unclear. I think that what happened that changed the industry is that the reform of cannabis has started, and when Yuval Landschaft, the head of the iCAN is the agency that's responsible for medical cannabis in Israel, started his role 6 or 7 years ago, then he started to change the industry. He wanted to make it more medical, straightforward, like any other pharmaceutical drugs. In the beginning, it wasn't simple, because any change is not simple, and the regulation wasn't there. So the 8 LPs that grew medical cannabis supplied to patients, but because it wasn't legal to sell cannabis in Israel, we gave a service. So the price was fixed. It wasn't according to the quantity the patient got the medical cannabis. They paid a fixed amount each of the time they got on a monthly basis or not, and got supply according to their license. What creates a market with the lowest price in the world for medical cannabis. On average, we got 8 shekels, which is about, it depends on, let's say $2 and something US retail price. We had, all the 8 LPs had to get managed with this price. I think that it's the lowest in the world by far. Because of that, we have to be very efficient. And I think that what was developed is around that. If you look at Israel, most of the technologies came from the army or from other places, but came from stress. I think that it's exactly the same situation in Israel. The fact that there were only 8 LPs along the way, and no one could get a license, I think that this is what brought Israel, or many people in Israel, to go more to the innovation side and to startups. And because of that, I think that everybody can see in Israel as a hub for innovation and medical studies. I think that in every hospital or every institution that dealing with research, there is some study about medical cannabis. Israel have a perfect climate, not perfect, but excellent climate to grow cannabis. Definitely better climate than most of Europe. And Israel was supposed to be the biggest exporter of medical cannabis to Europe. However, what we see is that everything takes a lot of time here. I'm in this business since 2010. We are in 19 now. No export still. We don't see any significant footprint of Israel is a player out of Israel. And unfortunately, I'm not optimistic. I see the past and what happened with the regulation in Israel, and although we should export very soon, I think that it will take much longer than everybody is anticipating, because this is what happened in the past. I think that Israel can be definitely an empire regarding innovation, startups, and all the things that Israel is good at. If I'm looking at the cultivation side, Israel has done huge changes with the new reform. The standards are completely different than what happened in the past. The standards, I think, in Israel are the highest in the world. We have to do, I can tell you that as a cultivator, the amount of money that we have to invest in biological tests, heavy metals, all the aspects of growing and all the aspects of what can be in the plant is, I haven't seen anything similar to that in any other place. It definitely set the bar very high regarding the standards. However, we have to compete with other places. And when I'm looking at other places, I don't see those standards. Anything like that costs a lot of money. At the end of the day, it would be not only about quality, but also about pricing. So it will be interesting to see how Israel will be, how much competitive Israel will be regarding growing. More than that, many LPs in Israel are now coming into the market. Everybody wants to export to Europe. I think that everybody knows that the pricing in Europe is very high. In Germany, the cost, if we look at patients that are going to pharmacy, it costs them 20 euro per gram. In Israel, it's about 2 euro for patients as of now. Everybody understands the mathematics and want to go to Europe. However, the standards today, the IMC GMP, is not EU GMP. And Israel has to understand that the European won't set the regulation according to the Israeli regulation. They have their own regulation. We have to adjust ourselves and to be like the European. Because if not, other Greece now giving a lot of licenses, Portugal giving licenses. I believe that many countries, Malta and so on, many countries will start and give more licenses to new players. My concern is that Israel will stay behind. I think that there are many investors here and other players in the market. I think that what we can see in the market is huge growth in startups and people that want to go into this industry. I think that Israel is not an industrial empire, to say the least, but we're definitely very good in innovation and startups. So I can tell you that IMC, as a company in this business, has set parallel operation in Europe. Now we are going to grow in Europe. We have supply in Europe. We have done all the business in parallel, although people speak about export long ago, it should have been happened, because we believe that first it will take more time, and secondly, I don't know how competitive we will be in Europe. And I think that now there are, I don't know how many, but if I'm looking at the production capacity that is going to be in Israel is unbelievable. I don't know where Israel will export all this production capacity. I have interest. I definitely want that we will be exporter. I'm a Zionist. But what we have done, although I'm Zionist and although I'm a believer, we have done a parallel organization in Europe. It's much simpler. The regulator is much lighter, I will say it like that. So I believe that although we have, I will give you an example. In our facility, for example, all the post-harvest is fully automated. I mean, we are cutting the plant, and then you go to machine. At the other side, you have clean flour. I'm not familiar with companies in the US or in Canada that have this kind of operation. This is something that is very typical to Israel. So we have a competitive advantage in the cost, because in our facility, we cost the post-harvest labor by 90%. If we can take this advantage, as of now, not, okay? We're not supplying to anyone outside of Israel. There isn't any real competition. The prices in Israel are regulated, okay? It should be changed. The reform should have started yesterday, actually. In the last minute, we got a notice that it will delay. Nothing new. So I think that, again, the advantages that we will have is mainly in the innovation, even in the grow. And I think that this will be the main export of Israel, not flowers, like everybody thinks. I hope that I'm mistaken, and that Israel will be the biggest exporter of medical cannabis in the world, because I think that we can be the best. I'm sorry to be, the bad guy here. Everybody's so optimistic about Israeli export and everything. So that's what I think. I think that the standards are much higher than any other place. Let's see if we can fulfill it as well. I'm open to any question. The intention was that you will ask.
If you export cannabis, do you have to radiate it?
So the standards in Israel today, no. First of all, no. But if we have to radiate what we are exporting. First of all, I don't know. You know what? I will answer like that. I don't know. What I can tell you that today, to supply the local market, it's very difficult without radiation, because the bar is so high regarding biological, so it's very difficult to grow and to supply in Israel without radiation. By the way, the radiation in Israel is not gamma, it's beta. Okay? That means that it doesn't affect the terpene profile, the cannabinoids profile, so people actually don't feel any difference. The only difference is the added cost. For us, I mean. That's one of the added costs that we have.
Good. Another question? Here we go. State your name and question, please.
Ronnie from iCAN. Of the 8 Israeli growers that went international, how successful have they been in their operations of exporting their IP to other geographies?
Can you, the last part, how?
How successful have the 8 Israeli growers been at exporting their technology, like what you're talking about to doing in Europe, with Tikkun Olam being a good example? What about the rest?
It's a good question. I'll answer from my side, okay? For example, in our facility, all the post-harvest is fully automated. It's a competitive advantage that I have. I'm in a conflict, okay? I don't know if to sell this technology or to keep it for myself. And this is something that I'm struggling every day with this question. If it's a technology that it's not in the core business, then I think that Israelis will be, any technologies that Israelis want to export, we have a lot of experience, know-how, people that have done it in other places. I think that Israelis can be very successful in that. I don't know how much of the technology they really will want to export, and I think that most of the export will be not from the LPs, because the LPs have their own business. I think that all the community that wanted to go into this industry and couldn't get licenses went to the innovation and to startups. And I think that accidentally, okay, what happened in Israel is a huge community of people that go into innovation and startups. Well, actually the advantage of Israel, okay? And I think that Israel can be very successful because, you know, it's ecosystem. When people hear and familiar with someone that have done something, they want to do it as well. It's okay to fail in Israel. Okay, you can fail and try again. So I believe that most of the export of the technology won't be from the LPs. If it's answered.
But it will be, is your point.
I think that we will be #1 in the world. I truly believe in that.
Amen. This is the way to end, Oren. That's how you do it.
Okay.